This is the early 1890s Kammer Reinhardt Berliner Gramophone talking doll, manufactured by Kammer Reinhardt through a licensing agreement with Emil Berliner, the patent holder of and inventor of the gramophone. Kammer Reinhardt was located in Waltherhausen, Germany, and were a very well-known doll manufacturer. There were, as far as we know, 2 dolls produced. However, this doll was not ever formally put into production, as the idea was simply just too flawed for it to be of any success, much like the Edison doll. The gramophone is actually located in the torso of the doll, which currently is being covered by the chest cover. The gramophone plays a 8 centimeter disc record, in this case titled Sing a Song of Sixpence, and was in error titled and effaced 3 Blind Mice. This doll was discovered in March of 2010 in the United States and is all complete and in a wonderful state of preservation. The gramophone, as previously mentioned, is located inside the torso of the doll. Once the chest cover is removed, you can then see the gramophone. Currently, the gramophone is in a rest position with the reproducer in a locked upright position at the beginning of the turntable. During this demonstration, and for obvious reasons, the record will not be used. However, if a record were in place on the turntable, and in order to start the gramophone to play, there is a string located at the side of the doll's torso, as you can see. When the string is pulled, it allows the lock mechanism holding the reproducer in place to disengage, as you could hear it click. The needle is now on the turntable and is ready for play. However, again, because no disc is being used for this demonstration, we will only play the gramophone in its locked upright position. That being said, with the needle down now and reproducer in a play position, you can also see that if the needle were over at the end of the record, there is a stop mechanism located inside, which allows the reproducer to only go so far and not out of the sound grooves, which I think is truly ingenious and ahead of its time, given the manufacturing date of this gramophone. Once the record has finished and the reproducer is sitting in this position, there is a brass button, again located in the rear of the doll, here. Once that button is pressed, it then raises the reproducer and draws it back to the beginning again in a rested, upright, locked position. One can only imagine a child or even a reluctant parent failing to lock the reproducer in place, how it would damage the very thin celluloid record. To play the doll, the crank, which is located at the bottom of the doll, is to be rotated clockwise, like so. The noise you are hearing is actually flat spots that have developed in the rubber drive wheel over the years and is now causing the turntable to bounce up and down and no longer run smoothly. It has now been determined by some of the world's leading authorities of early recordings and early sound restoration that this doll's record was recorded at 98.6 RPMs. The sound would travel through a rubber tube connected to the reproducer. And inside the head, once the wig is removed, is a paper horn, as though the doll itself were singing. While the wig is off, there is also a very unique mechanism with respect to the doll, and that is a brass lever which is right behind the left ear of the doll. This device, although was made and put in place to allow space in the head for the paper horn, allows the eyes to open and close. And that is the Kammer Reinhardt Berliner Gramophone talking doll.